Space Program. This is Tim Judge, streaming live. I am going to be sending a crew to Moon to rescue Bill, Bob, and Jeb, who fell victim to a bug, actually. So let's see if I can get the rescue ship that I had saved. Rescue craft, here we go. Alright, so we've got an Asperius stage 2.5 meter booster, 4-way. Let's see, we've got some main engines in here. This is up here inside the fairing is actually my recovery craft. We've got a grabber thing here because all that is floating in space right now is the capsule. That's it. We've got a probe core in here with some batteries inside this little storage bay. Radial engines. Some solar panels. Drogue parachutes for the return. Regular parachutes for the return. Docking port on the underside. So the plan is, ideally, that we will grab onto the rescue pod, then dock with the space station that I have in orbit around the moon, with our docking port here, transfer the science that is in the capsule to the space, to the science lab that's in orbit, process the data, and then fly it back to Kerbin. So hopefully we can rescue not only my Kerbinauts, but also my science. So let's get going with this launch. And right now there's actually no one in the chat room, so I guess I'm just doing this for YouTube, where I'll be uploading it later. And hello, Ben. Alright. To the moon! So, Ben, I don't think you got the explanation as to what happened, did you? Probably not. Check our map. Let's see, how are we doing? Good. Alright, ready to separate the first set of boosters. Successful stage. And I can't tell if Ben can hear me or not. Hopefully someone can hear me. Oh, Ben is not even giving me his full and undivided attention. That's alright, because on his last stream I didn't give that to him, so... Because his last stream, which I did enjoy, was him going to Eeloo, but it also took a really long time. Because going to Eeloo takes forever. But, you know. I am only going to the moon today. As of course you know if you were watching this at some later date, but as you do not know if you are just joining me now. Orbital insertion burn is going to be good. This rocket design was actually built for much smaller spacecraft, so I'm not too worried about it. I mean, basically everything from here down is something that I have saved, and it's pretty reliable in getting me into space, so I don't worry about it too much. Just setting it up, saving some fuel. So yeah, I was not very happy to see, after I came out of time acceleration, that my lander with the main three just fell apart. just stopped existing, basically. Well, it didn't stop existing. It flew into like 6 pieces, and the docking port on it stayed docked to the ship that the lander was docked with, which, you know, not helpful. Stage. There we go. Good separation. So yeah, so I had 3 things in orbit around the moon. I had a space station, which was basically just a science lab. I had a ISRU lander that was there, and then I had the lander with Bill, Bob, and Jeb. Unfortunately, I've forgotten to put any monopropellant thrusters, so I wasn't really going to be able to dock it to the space station. So I decided instead to dock the ISRU to my lander to refuel it. And hearing that I'm buffering, my stream is good. Ben, why don't you try restarting? Because I'm seeing the stream is good, as I'm watching it on another computer. So, but yeah, so I had my ISRU lander docked with my lander that had the main crew in it, and I was trying to make it approach the space station. My idea was I was just gonna spacewalk the data over and then return to Kerbin. But when I came out of time acceleration, which wasn't physical time acceleration, by the way, it was just normal time acceleration, all of a sudden, my the lander with the Kerbinauts on it just flew apart into various pieces, and it doesn't have a docking port on it, and the crew capsule is its own separate piece. So that is where I am starting. Right. Get the fairing separated. Did I set up an action group? No. Well, I overburned a little bit, but that's okay. This capsule has plenty of delta V. So, set the moon as my target, although it doesn't really matter. It's my inclination, 0.06, that's fine. Alright. Looks like a pretty good encounter. Okay. 26 minutes, and then it's going to be 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So I'm just going to warp to the encounter. Or to the maneuver. The warp to maneuver feature does put me a little bit, basically a minute away from the maneuver, which isn't quite as soon as I'd like, but it's close enough. I mean, it's not like this is rocket science or anything. Alright, Ben says he reloaded, and Ben, if that reload is working, let me know, because, like I said while I was buffering, presumably for you, I'm also looking at the stream on another computer just to make sure that it's doing well, and I'm seeing it as continuously running, so I think it might have just been a little connection problem on your end. Right. Let's begin our burn. So yeah, this capsule that you can see here, Lunar Science with an exclamation point, that is the capsule that I need to grab, and this Moon Lab is the the space station that I need to dock with, and there's this probe body down there. So this was actually my first time using the docking arm, or the grabbing arm. So yeah, if you have any tips, let me know. Let's see, how are we doing here? I might actually try to bring my periapsis down in line with the orbits of the capsule and space station, but that'll be something I do as a correction later. Possibly even with the RCS thrusters. Trying to see if Ben can see this. I don't know. I shouldn't pay too much attention to the other computer, otherwise I will overburn. That could be bad. Last little bit. Let's see how that looks. That's pretty good. Alright. So, just to make sure I know which way I'm going to burn. Yeah, forward. Alright. I'm actually not going to keep that. I'm just going to warp here. Well, I wish I knew if the stream were working for Ben, but I don't, because he is not getting back to me. So let's point prograde. We'll activate RCS. And when I get onto the prograde vector, I am going to use a little bit of RCS thrust just to push my periapsis closer towards the moon. This is much more efficient than just capturing at that altitude and then trying to lower myself down. Because doing this, I'm spending a few units of RCS fuel. Whereas doing that, I would have to spend several units of, what's it? The, liquid fuel. Let's bring this more in line. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. So, because I have RCS activated, it's screwing around with my my delta V requirement for this maneuver. So I turned RCS off. Oh, and I've still got this set to prograde. That's why I'm still turning. Do not want this set to prograde. Oops. Yeah, 10 units of monopropellant used so far, and you saw how much that dropped my periapsis. Ben says it's coming and going, but for the most part, it's okay. I don't know what to tell you. I am seeing a steady stream on my end. So, yeah, I don't know. Alright, let's warp to the next maneuver. When I get to it, I'm probably not going to wait until 0. It's not as important when you're at this point in your orbit where you're basically on what's almost a straight line trajectory. Let's open up my rocket engines. Go. Perfect. Alright. So, let's calculate our capture burn. So I want to get into as close orbit as I can to this. I'm willing to let it take a while for the encounter between the capsule and my rescue to happen. What I'm not willing to do is burn up all sorts of extra fuel that I don't have to. So, let's get into the sphere of influence of the moon. So, yeah. I think the capsule is in a slightly lower orbit than the, slightly higher orbit than the space station. Because you can see that gap between them starting to increase slowly as the station pulls ahead. Right, let's get on to our maneuver vector. So I'm not using RCS right now because I don't know how much I'm going to have to use later, and I would rather use up RCS in final docking maneuvers than use it up in just turning to be on the correct vector. So it's going to be a 30-second burn, that's not bad. Up to it. Okay. Starting to burn a little early, mostly because my engine has gimbal thrust vectoring, so I actually maneuver better when I have the engine firing than when I don't. Little poodle. So that is why I'm doing that. I probably should have brought lights, but you know, it's like playing the game on easy. So yeah. There we go. I am now successfully in orbit around Moon, or the Moon. I hear it both ways. And actually, I will set this as my target. 1.3 degrees off my target. Yeah, I'll probably fix that. Good enough. Alright. So it is ahead of me, and I want to get to meet it, so I am going to slow down a bit. Walk a little bit ahead. Get closer to that periapsis. Should probably get back onto my retrograde marker. Ben asked how much RCS I have with me, or monopropellant. The answer is I brought 250. I've used 10 of it. And he says that lights are for people who remember lights, which is something that I agree with. It is, in fact, for someone who remembers lights. And I am one of those people maybe 30% of the time. I think that's a pretty good estimate. So, as you can probably tell, this little probe does not have a lot of torque. I don't even think I brought any extra reaction wheels. But that is okay. Alright. So, I am now definitely in a lower orbit. So, let's get this ascending node. I like to line them up. I don't know, I find it easier. It's not as close as I could get it, but There we go. Oop, and I overshot it again. Once you're in that 0 degree range, they move very quickly. You want to try and get them, there we go, about 90 degrees away from where they started. So. And Ben says there's plenty of monopropellant, and I agree it is, but I also am known to screw things up from time to time. Like forgetting monopropellant on my Lunar Science capsule in the first place. That was not smart. So, you know. And Ben says that he remembers lights about 10% of the time. From what I've seen, that sounds to be about right. For him. So, yeah. Open this. We got a Probodobodyne HECS. Got some large batteries. Got these little radial engines. So. Now it's a bit of a waiting game as I wait for that node to come in, because when I'm on a tight orbit like this, it actually is fairly important that I get the node straight on, unlike when I was out approaching the moon where it didn't matter. Here it does matter. Right. How am I doing? Can't even see it. Oh, what? There we go. 0.0. Awesome. Alright. So, now we have an encounter here. Let's see if we can't make that a closer encounter. Gone the wrong way there. .7. I think I have enough Delta V to just brute force it from there. Not really sure though. Oh, it's getting worse. .7. That's good enough for me. All right. Wait, where'd my maneuver go? Oh, accidentally killed it. Awesome. Oh well. It's not like it's gonna be super hard to set back up. That's the wrong way to burn. .3 is not very good. So yeah, this is the boring bit of setting up a encounter, is just fiddling around with these maneuver nodes. Okay, so there is an exact science to it, I guess. I mean, I'm sure there is. But I don't know what it involves. 3.8... 6, so that's going backwards. Come on. 1.7. That's good. That's really good. Alright. That will work. So, sorry about all that fiddling around with Maneuver Nose. It's really boring to watch, and to be honest, it's not actually all that much fun to do. It's just one of those things, you have to do it, otherwise you don't accomplish your goal. So, I'm actually thinking that I might end up encountering and grabbing the capsule before I run out of fuel in this stage here, because I do need to ditch this stage before I dock with the station, because of course the docking port is underneath this stage. It's hard to see here, but it's right here, and there's a decoupler here. So, alright. That's pretty good for being on my maneuver vector. So now we just have to wait a few orbits. And this is what I mean where I'm okay with having to orbit several times to catch up with the capsule, rather than just wasting Delta V. Because ultimately I need to have enough Delta V to make it back to Kerbin, not just at all, but safely. And so I am watching my Delta V pretty carefully. How long is this orbit? It's about a half-hour orbit. So, yeah, the nice thing about airless bodies is that you can orbit them really closely. Yeah, you can't orbit that close to, like, certainly not Eve or something. But yeah, with the Moon or Moho or most of the other things, Dres, you can get really close. So. And in case you're wondering, this lander that I'm catching originally landed in the Moon's polar crater. And so it has a bunch of science from there. It had more science, but it got destroyed. The polar crater is right here. So I came in at an inclined orbit, increased the inclination a little bit, landed, then launched, corrected my inclination to be equatorial like the orbiter of the space station, and then I was approaching it. So that actually took up quite a bit of Delta V, which is why I docked the ISRU with my lander, was to refuel it. And Ben's asking if anyone else is having problems with excessive buffering. Please let him know, because if that's a big problem, I will stop this game and I will restart the stream. I am perfectly fine with doing that. So I can see that there are other people watching, so please let them know. I do not want this stream to be unwatchable. At least not for technical reasons. If it's unwatchable because I'm terrible, well, I mean, that's the way it goes. So, yeah. So please let Ben know. I will let you know, Ben, that I am not having any buffering issues yet that I've noticed. Oh. I almost missed my maneuver due to excessive chat window looking. Alright, so what kind of encounter am I looking at here? Oh, separation 0.6 meters. That's really good. Alright. So there I am, 3.8 kilometers, 3.5-ish kilometers. And I'm going to get over to my retrograde marker. So I'm going to slow down relative to my target, and also come in at a more exact angle. Well, I say exact, but, you know. Here we go. Push that retrograde marker onto my anti-target vector. So now I am only 2 kilometers away. It's pretty close. Slow down a bit more. Not opening up the throttle very much because I want this to stay pretty dead set on an anti-target. My retrograde marker to stay pretty dead set on anti-target. It's easier to do that if you are applying only a small amount of thrust. Alright, so now let's turn around and yeah. See how this is going. Alright. Use our translation keys to bring myself on target. I'm getting a lot of wobble. Do not like that at all. Should have brought more torque. Oh well. Next time I have a rescue mission. A big part of it is that because I still have that lower stage, which I am not willing to ditch at this moment, the translation keys are inducing torque. So that is a big part of the problem. So actually I'm going to point away from the target and burn backwards with the N key. Not to be confused with the hero from the Babylonian Epic of Gilgamesh, Enki. This is the key on your keyboard, which activates the letter N. N key. Yeah, I know, that was really lame, and sorry. Alright. So, also slowing down considerably. Do not want to smash into this, although it's looking increasingly like that may happen. Now, 2.5 is a little bit more than I normally would go, but I think it might actually be okay. Of course, because my RCS thrusters are inducing torque, it's not easy for me to get my prograde vector and my target vector aligned. So 0.6 is a perfectly reasonable speed, as is 0.5. And 0.4. I am slowing down relative to my target, so that might not make sense if you are not super familiar with the whole orbital mechanics thing, but it's important to realize that while you are traveling in a straight line in local space, you are actually traveling in a curved line. You're basically following curved space-time when you are in orbit, and so even if you don't feel acceleration, you are going to be on a different orbit than someone else. And so your velocity towards relative to them, as well as your direction of travel, will seem to change without any force applied. It's because you're both traveling through space that is curved slightly differently. So you can notice this even in Kerbal Space Program, although it's really just treating gravity as a force and not as curved space. But if you have two objects and you just let go of them and then match their relative velocities, you'll see that they actually start accelerating away from each other. there is your science lesson for the day. A little bit of time acceleration, although as Ben knows, I have in the past used time acceleration too much and then not realized why I couldn't grab onto things. So I am going to see if I... looks like this capsule is spinning. I'm going to see if I can switch to it and stop that from happening. Oh, no, I guess it's not spinning. It just looked like it was. Well, that is good. And try to make it so that... there we go. Make it easy to grab. Switch back to my rescue craft. Right. And I am going way too fast. I may even end up missing. Stop moving away from my target vector. So yeah, if I were to do this again, I would probably ditch this last stage at this point. But, I don't know, kind of like having it. Oh, and of course I'm now traveling backwards. Now this might be a pretty high energy. Yeah, it's time to ditch this. Alright, so now I can be a little bit more careful. Slow down. Not that much, though. Alright. So, should have ditched that a while ago. I would have been better off without it. Oh well. So this is how the craft was designed to fly. Just this right here. So we've got the grabber arm, the docking port, these little thrusters, and RCS thrusters. That's it. Let's go a little bit faster. Okay. And I'm approaching the lunar science vessel. So let me know how the stream's going, everyone, with the buffering. About to capture my crew capsule. There we go. Capture successful. We've got Bill, Jeb, and Bob. Alright. So, time to rendezvous with the space station, which is behind me. Or sorry, ahead of me. So, let's turn around. Drop into a lower orbit. That actually seems to be pushing me into a higher orbit. Where am I controlling this from? Here. Yep. it set my control to the crew capsule, which is understandable, but I did not expect it. So, these other two not active. Now that's weird. Why would the other two not activate? If you know why the other two wouldn't have activated, please let me know, because that doesn't make much sense to me. But there you go. Alright. Dropping into a lower orbit. I'm still safe at 21,000 meters. So now if you look carefully, you'll see that I'm catching up as I'm in this portion of the orbit. But I want that to be the case for pretty much the whole time. So, time to burn retrograde. Just a little bit now that I'm at the periapsis. Or, well, I passed a little bit, but that's not a big deal. Okay. Awesome. Alright, so now for most of the orbit I'm below, and then I just match orbital height. Well, I go a little bit past, but that's fine. Alright. So, let's work on an encounter burn. Alright, so that's going to put me suborbital, and I don't want to do that. So let's see. If I just wait, I'll get within 1.7 kilometers. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to wait. Yep. No sense burning the fuel if I don't have to. So as a reminder to those who may have joined recently, this is a rescue mission. Bill, Jeb, and Bob were lost to a bug. Basically, it came out of regular time acceleration, and their lander just blew up. The only thing that was left of it is this capsule. So, rather than, loading a quick save or something like that, I figured, you know what, I'll just go with it. I will rescue them. And this is my rescue craft. So. And as I had said earlier, this is actually my first time using the grabbing arm. I've never used it before. And I rather like it. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. So, here is my target. You can see that I'm slowly catching up to it. Ever so slowly. That is because my orbit is, for the most part, lower. So you'll see that my target relative velocity starts... Well, it's maintaining its positive degree. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so now we are coming up on a point... We are how far away? We're still pretty close, but let's give it another orbit. Alright. Now, how far away am I at this point? 12.5 kilometers. Alright. So now we're basically moving at almost the same speed, and our orbits are just drawing closer to each other. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's actually come in for our encounter at this point. So we're going to basically brute force it from here. Well, maybe not brute force, but... So once again, I've got that slight problem where basically I am not able to apply just translation with my RCS thrusters because I'm no longer balanced, which isn't a huge problem, but it's not great. Let's just say that. So I don't want to use too much of my main engines, because they are the engines I plan on returning to Kerbin with, assuming all goes well. And Ben, do not worry, this will definitely end up on YouTube. I hope you can hear me, because right now I'm not really in a position to type. Alright, so let's control from here. And instantly you can see, oh no, I had my SAS on the wrong indicator, but that's fine. So yeah, you can see that the nav ball switched directly around, because I am now controlling it from the opposite end of my spaceship, because now I'm controlling it from the Clampotron. Alright, so before I actually get there, I'm going to switch to the Moon Lab and make it so that one of my docking ports is facing... Where's my ship? Oh. There we are. So let's see. Let's get one of my docking ports so that it lines up fairly well with the incoming rescue ship. So, looks like we're good. Back to target, because for a second there I was a little panicked at how high that number was. But no, we're still on target for a successful docking encounter with the Moon Lab. And I gotta be honest, seeing the moon come in from the side like that, it gives me a little bit of vertigo sometimes. I probably would make a terrible astronaut for reasons like that, because it's just... seeing it loom out of nowhere is a little disconcerting. So... and I can see that there's other people watching, so if you are having trouble with buffering, please let me know. Either way, don't say, you know, yes or no. So, as I'm getting closer, I'm seeing that, yeah, the docking port is pretty well aligned. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be a lot of bumping and jiggling around at the actual encounter, but that's fine. So yeah, as you can see, I'm using the I, J, K, L, H, and N keys at this point for maneuvering on my RCS thrusters. Because if I were to try to do this all on my main engines, it would be probably disastrous. Might actually do a little bit of main engine maneuvering here. Just for the sake of it. So yeah, because my main engines are currently facing backwards relative to the docking port here, they fire along my retrograde vector. Or, well, opposite my direction vector. So if I fire them now, I will push away from the station. Which is not what I want, but, you know. Okay. And you can see on the lab there, I've got my ISRU lander attached. If you were paying really close attention when I switched to the lab, you'd have already seen that. And, yeah. This is a Science Sandbox game, and I do have a career mode game on the same install. But that is not where I had this accident. So you are getting to see a Science Sandbox game that I have. I may later stream some career mode stuff. I don't know. Probably not tonight, though. One thing I do wish I could do, and if I can, and I just don't know how, please let me know, is target the docking port before I can actually really see it. And it's back down to just me and Ben. Except that Ben is only kind of here because, well, I don't know. Right. So yeah, this docking is not all that hard once you get the hang of it, and it took me a while to get the hang of it. But it takes a lot of readjustments. You're always going to be off by some fairly considerable degree. So, that's just the way of it. Now, of course, I am going to quick save because previously I was doing something similar to this and my ship exploded. And I don't want that to happen again. Alright, I think I can see a docking port at this point, so I am going to set it as my target. Yep. Clampotron. Go. So that's not terribly important until you get close, but it just would be nice if it happened more automatically. Or there were just an option when you set your target to a target that has a docking ports, if you could pick them. I don't know if that's realistically a possibility. I don't know how the coding works. But, yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a pretty spot-on docking. So there we go, just kind of sailing in slowly. Stability assist is off. RCS is currently off. And, yeah. Let's give it a little backwards buff. Well, backwards buff. There we go. Alright, here we are, about to dock. So this will be a successful Stage 2 of my rescue operation. Stage 3 will be walking the science over, assuming I can't just process it from here. I don't really know. Come on. You know you want to align. Almost there. There we go. Awesome. Alright. So let's see. I think I actually can just review it from here. So yeah, here we go. Process some data. Does that go faster if I time accelerate? So it doesn't go faster when you time accelerate, huh? That's interesting. Alright. So yeah, this is... Originally my plan was to get this science processed in this science lab. I should turn off the lights. No sense using up that battery power. Alright. Let's Process some more. So in case you're wondering how I'm getting enough power generation to basically keep this constant, the answer is essentially that this ISRU is powered by a whole bunch of reactors. Open, you can see, yeah, they're just packed in there. Not for any good reason, just because it sounded fun. More data! I will not be able to process that. Or that, or that. Let's re-review what we've got here. Mostly because I want to see, can I transmit things? I don't really know. Okay, where's that communitron? Guess it doesn't really matter. Can't even do that. So what I'm going to do is let's time accelerate a little bit from the Space Center. Because I want to actually process all that data. I don't want to waste any of it. So, here we go. That seems pretty good. Rescue craft debris. Need that. Alright. Moon Lab, here we go. Oh, I need to hit start research for that to work. Yep. So I just wasted a whole bunch of game time, but that's okay. No one was counting on me. So, let's try that again. Alright, so Ben says he's having no problems with my stream, so I'm going to restart it. So here we go.